Was it the Chad?
Well, it might be the Chad. Hello, hello. So I am in Shelburne, Ontario today at the third annual Shelby Rally. So welcome, welcome. I'll just let more people show up here. But anyway, I said 2 o'clock, but I guess apparently we're starting a little earlier. So I decided, well, I'm early here. Might as well.
Because we are just strong together. We will always rise if there's no folding under pressure. They ask me what I fight for, I'm a human rights defender. We gotta stand on top of the until the lives are better. Break me down, but we are just strong together.
So you're gonna walk around a little bit here.
Folding under pressure. They ask me what I fight for, I'm a human.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Ryan! You're live.
Hello.
You're live on the Chad Media.
Hello, Chad Media. The Chad. We are here in Shelburne. The same reason is why we're in Ottawa. Standing up against the lies and the corruption, and particularly the COVID campaign of lies and deception that brought harm and death to millions of Canadians, millions of Canadian lives destroyed because of the COVID campaign of terror. And we are here to stand up against this, friends. It is time. These shots are killing people. They continue to kill people. Mortality rates, birth rates, the chances of most young women now even giving birth after having taken these injections. Friends, the time has come. People are awake more and more with the evidence continuing to come out of this campaign of lies and corruption. So we're here, friends, to stand in unity with our brothers and our sisters here in Shelburne today, a strong group in Shelburne. And so we've come today to join forces for an annual, and we are here, and we're going to continue to be here, and we're going to continue to stand up as more and more evidence continues to come out, friends. So stick with us today. I'll be going live again later on. I'm just putting up these flags and things around here to help out with the decorum here.
Letting them know the Wellington Street regulars are here, eh?
Wellington Street regulars made their mark in Shelburne.
And I gotta go, man. Hold on. Okay, Ash, no problem. Here's some more fringy people coming. By the way, welcome to my life getting hit with flags. There's lots of people driving by honking, showing their support. All right, so I am going to maintain the live for the most part, as long as I can, and I do have battery, so I can continue.
good day.
Good day, good day.
Oh, we're all good today.
All good today?
Yeah, we are. We're here for freedom.
We're here for freedom.
Live in Shelburne, Ontario.
Yeah, live in Shelburne.
Shelburne came to Ottawa, now Ottawa's coming to Shelburne. Yeah, that's a fucking sweet sign. That is awesome.
Yeah. And there's lots of cars coming by honking as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's
Gotta
good.
get these people out here, then they'll get all excited.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
all right, let's take a quick look at the comments. Hello, in Canada. Welcome to Shelburne. Caesar. Awesome. So I'm being broadcast on Ashcan 2 as well. Yeah. We got multiple lines going. You can share it off Ashcan 2 as well, so we're getting a little more exposure. Anybody else, if you want to piggyback my stream, you are more than welcome. So feel free to share it out there as well. Don't forget to hit the like. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, if you come here. I won't be checking the comments too often, but I will check in every once in a while. I'm going to take a little interlude here, and I'm going to play a song.
People you are after are the people you depend on. We cook your meals. We haul your trash. We connect your calls. We drive your ambulances. We guard you while you sleep. Do not fuck with us.
Talking all that bullshit. Ain't nobody gonna tell me how to live. I'm a moonshine sipper, straight slipping in the darkness. Far from heartless, I'm more like the sharpest tool in the shed. No, I've never been the smartest, but make no mistake, I hit the fucking hardest. Devil with the
way through this pandemic is by getting everyone vaccinated.
Here I still don't give a fuck. So what the fuck's up with all the backlash? You snowflakes, here's a news flash. Ain't nobody gonna tell me how to live.
Must be Canadian week. Your country's in revolt. Do you know about this? Show this video.
Here's a situation. A nation of pussies is our next generation. And these minions.
Some insane amount of people, like 50,000 trucks, that are headed to Ottawa. Because apparently they're all being mandated that they have to get vaccinated. And they're like, hey, we don't even contact anybody. We're in our truck.
Still screaming, fuck you! Ain't nobody gonna tell me how to live. Ain't nobody gonna tell me how to live. Oh, I'm gonna soar like an eagle. My wings will carry me away.
Finding that they have been operating throughout this pandemic, even at the most trying times. We saw some incredibly large case numbers in the early days of COVID south of the border. It was our truckers that crossed that border.
People who are on their way to Ottawa who are holding unacceptable views.
weather and all of the things we had. Wasn't that a wonderful time? I don't know, nothing probably that has changed my life more than being down there in Ottawa with those talkers people. So the world, nobody's right. The people the elites do not pay attention to. Truckers, farmers, everyday ordinary people. But you know what? That began a movement that made a change all over the world. Isn't it wonderful what you actually got? We're not going away. We're not going away. So I will talk a little bit about my campaign, but it's really just a protest campaign. I'm not anticipating winning, although I cannot tell you how many positive conversations I've had and the volunteers have had. One young man distributed all of his door hangers and they went to our pastor and said, Anne is going to win. Everyone's agreeing with her. Wow, we've come a long way, folks. We've come a long way. So, anyways, my main has always been research is gender and sexuality. So I've been on this trajectory for many years. I've written several books. So that's why when COVID struck, I was in Africa. I was speaking on this whole issue of parental attachment and trauma and gender and sexuality. And my husband said, "You gotta come home." And I'm like, "Why? I have two more countries to go to." "No, you've got to come home because Trudeau's closing the borders because of COVID." And I'm like, I've been researching long enough, not in the medical research like David here, but a different form of research. But I've been researching long enough to know propaganda out there because everything I researched was LGBTQ. And so I did end up flying home. So I won't go into that. That was quite an exciting journey home. Got to the airport. Got to the airport, and there was nothing. You would think everything was just fine. No temperature. They weren't doing anything. They were handing out leaflets. You would never know anything was going on. They were posting. So I knew things weren't quite what they said they were. So Bob and I talked, and when I talked, we just said no vaccine.
Just moving around a little bit different, by the way, people don't worry.
And what a good decision that was. That doesn't mean that those people who got a vaccination are alien to us. You're part of who we are. People just didn't know. And people listen to our government.
All right, I'm going to walk around so I can closer to this lady on the front side. Hello, hello. George walking around the side here. As you can see, we got lots of fringy people here.
Yeah, you're awful fringy,
right? Fringe. No, we're not no minority anymore.
No,
we're a majority.
Yeah, hopefully.
We got a lovely lady here. She's spray painting. 1% bet on 99 of us on board on their board game.
Their tabletop event. Event simulation.
Oh yeah.
The tabletop simulation.
Yeah.
201. October 19th, they released it. That Bob Hopkins, like every world leaders, they all got together 2 months before there was the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then it was just a matter of,
planning it and then saying.
Yeah, and then they're like, we'll bet.
Well,
the thing
is, though, you look at it though, the biggest thing to make a population under your control is fear itself.
Exactly. So they bet 99% of us would be scared, go take experimental jabs and not believe in God.
But you know what? There's also the other side. There's the 1% of us that believe that the opposite side that believe that the 99 will wake up. And we're proving that every day. Take care, my sister. Peace, love, and freedom. Hi.
Middle of winter, snap questions. Well, that's another question. But I want you to know know that Doug Ford lied to us, to every parent in Ontario. He lied. He promised to reveal this radical sex ad that Kathleen Wynne had put in. And he betrayed our friend Tanya Brennan Allen. He betrayed her. Kicked her out of his cabinet because of some comment she said 20 years ago, 20 some years ago, about a homosexual. You know, this is ridiculous. You couldn't have any freedom of thought or speech. Anyways, but he lied to us. Not only did he keep Kathleen Wynne's radical sex education, he has expanded it according to the UNESCO guidelines. And most parents have no clue. Do you know the parents I've talked to don't know that they're teaching children that they can be in the wrong body in kindergarten? They don't understand what's going on. So for me, this campaign isn't about winning. It's about getting people educated and getting information into the hands of parents in our riding. So, and I do want to make a statement to Doug Ford. I hope that I get lots of votes because I want to challenge the local leaders, all of them, you know, all of them, because most of them don't have a clue. And in the debates, it's very obvious. Like the Liberal leader said, what's wrong with DEI? Well, it's divisive, it's exclusionary, and it is absolutely hateful. It's hateful. It teaches children actually to hate each other. What we need is to go back to the golden rule and just take some simple things, not ideologies. So anyways, I'll talk more maybe at the restaurant if you want more information on gender and sexuality and what's happening in that whole realm. I can talk more about that there. But I know that you're cold. And I think Dr. Spiker is going to talk next, maybe, or no. Who's next? Dr. Shoemaker. Hey, well, the doctors are in the house. Yeah, the doctors are in the house. How's that? Anyways, thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting it. If you live in Bruce Gray, Owen Sound, grab one of my door hangers and vote for Ann Gillies.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ann. I think we hopefully can get a round of applause for Dr. Ann Gillies.
I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely the gloves off for the new sex ed curriculum, but it's hard to take the gloves off in this kind of cold. So
thank you,
that's
Caesar.
kind of that's why you got the gloves on, though. But yeah, thanks very much for everything you do, Ann. And I think everybody heard, but anybody who wants to get Dr. Ann's book, the Jelly Bean and Jelly Cafe up the road, has some copies, I think, still. So if you want to get over there and get more information, it's Closing the Floodgates by Dr. Ann Gillies, if you're looking for the book title. Okay, so next, I think we're going to introduce our beloved, our very own, well, not Shelburne's very own, but I mean, you're number one in our hearts, Dr. Chris Shoemaker. Thank you so much for coming.
We're here for our health, everybody.
Absolutely. Nobody's done more for everyone's health, and I think you have, doctors. So, yeah, I'd like to I'd just like to say it's an honor, and I'd like to turn this over to you. Do you need an assist here, or do you think you got it? Okay. Okay. I can't wait to hear it. All right, Dr. Shoemaker, everyone.
Hi, everybody. It's Chris, Dr. Chris. Most of my patients called me Dr. Chris when I took care of them and their children. I didn't have a pediatric practice per se, but I had a generalist practice in which I was taking care of children with autism, children with ADHD, things like that. So I had a lot of parents, met a lot of children over the years. However, I just want to, orient myself a little bit, kind of remember. Is that related to my microphone or not? Okay. Anyway, my dear friend Angel Godso isn't quite here yet. She's working her way over from the Kawartha Lakes area. And but thanks to Mike, who's photographing and videoing this, it'll mean she can watch it someday in the future. And I hope many people see this someday in the future of how wonderful people from the rural parts of Ontario, semi-rural, and the beautiful town of Shelburne
have continuously spoken up
I don't know
to
if
try indeed to save Canada.
I haven't revoked anybody.
And
I'll
we're
take a
doing
look
it
later,
again.
though.
This is the 80th meeting, the 80th weekend meeting that Shelburne has had to try to let people know that there is an alternative view to what has been foisted on us since 2019. And we sure needed an alternative view, didn't we? Because liars only know one thing. They know how to lie. And they know how to lie to win their point, to make things one directional. And so the thing I was reflecting on as I drove up with Charlie today, Charlie was with me when I was with one of the great Canadian heroes. He walked Newfoundland with me for 3 straight days with James Topp. I went to Newfoundland to support James Topp in the second version of his march across Canada. He'd done the first one when he'd come from west to Ottawa, but by the late summer in 2022, he was in New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland, and I couldn't resist going and being with James because he was a complete hero of mine, and he should be a complete hero of every Canadian. Because while the truckers were coming across in their vehicles, James was walking across Canada. Is there a small chance that dog could move a bit away from here, please? No, I'm gonna keep it. I mean, hey, Charlie was with me with James Topp. James walked 35 to 40 kilometers every day. Charlie and I only walked 20. We walked half the distance that that wonderful man did to try to point out the ridiculousness of everything. But Charlie went with me, and we were with James. And we had all learned from a different James, James O'Keefe. We learned in January of 2022, the same time the truckers learned it, that the vaccine was actually loaded with genetic crap that humans had designed. Humans had designed this thing to create COVID, and humans had designed the vaccine at the same time. And the vaccine is more toxic than the disease. The vaccine is and has been and will sadly in many people's arms and heart and ovaries and livers and kidneys be damaged by hyperimmune attack against your own body. The vaccines were never vaccines. They didn't prevent you from getting the disease. They were essentially the worst part, the spike protein generated by mRNA. Spike protein generated by mRNA put 40 trillion spikes into your body with every shot. 40 trillion. You only get 80 to keep you safe from polio. That's what a real vaccine is. You put the least amount, the smallest amount, and it's a non-toxic that does proper vaccination. This has nothing to do with a vaccination. It's a military measure meant to create toxicity in us. You can kill people a lot of ways. You can shoot them with a bullet. You can run them over with a truck. You can have a battle. You can have a sword. You can fight. But one of the easiest ways to quietly kill people so that they don't quite even barely notice is to poison them. These jabs have an element of a poisonous quality to them. Any serious scientist knows this. And we have been opposing this because we want people to live. That's my need as a doctor, to help people to live. You can't always succeed. People are going to die at 40 and 60 and 70 and 90, and sometimes at 17 because they're a dear little boy like Sean Hartman, who's coerced by society into putting a jab that he doesn't really want, but the dear little boy just wants to play hockey, and he won't be allowed to play hockey in Canada unless he puts a poisonous jab in his arm. And I died. I basically died inside when I heard his story the very first time on the stage, on the speaker's stage in Ottawa, because I was a doctor from the west end of Ottawa. And I went down with a sign that said MDs for truckers. And I knew why we should be MDs for truckers. These people were concerned for their own health. They were concerned for their own children. They'd read more papers than goddamn Tam ever read. She read nothing. She cared about nothing. She just went along with the WEF demand that we put these hyperimmune toxic jabs in our arms. And she was as big a liar as there is in all of Canada. And we are suffering because of the lies of Dr. Tam. And we are suffering because of the coercion and the alienation created within society by Justin Trudeau. He created alienation which was not necessary. If he'd read the real science, he would have known that vaccines against the COVID can never work, will never work, and will make the COVID infection more likely to be problematic. And that's exactly what we've seen. We've seen people getting COVID more because they took the COVID jabs. We've seen them getting respiratory syncytial virus more because they took the COVID jab. And this is so damning toxic. It has to stop. There's 3 or 4 things that should happen, but the biggest thing that should happen is what we have already wisely made ourselves all do. Don't take another friggin' damaging, poisoning jab ever. If it has mRNA on the label, don't take it ever.
Right.
And that is my medical advice and information for us all. There are other important points to this. Excellent scientist, Dr. Speaker, who will be right after me, have shown us, and I learned from him and Kevin McKernan in the summer of 2023, I learned that there wasn't just 40 trillion RNAs put into us. It's actually a third of that volume was DNA product. DNA product. 13 trillion bits within plasmids of deoxyribonucleic acid. That is material that can go in and change your genetic code. That is material that can make you infertile when it goes to the ovary. So DNA mixed with RNA, that's good for you? Not a chance. I don't care whether you're in Brussels right now watching me, in Australia, in Russia, in Brazil, in Moncton, New Brunswick, in British Columbia, near Smithers. I don't care where you're from. Don't put DNA, RNA products into you. It is a complete lie being foisted on us by society. I'm a doctor. I've studied the material. I know what I'm saying. And David Speaker, fairly soon now, will be telling you much more about how toxic it is to have DNA plasmids in your body. And that's what the bastards at Pfizer and that's what the bastards at Moderna did allow. They lied about it. They lied about it to Health Canada. And then even when Health Canada learned and had to admit, my goodness, you lied to us and you put SV40 along with everything else and DNA into these products?
Yep.
Oh, well, I guess we'll just say that's good for us. It's too bad you lied to us, but wait a minute, who are we going to go get the advice as to whether it's going to hurt us or not? Oh, well, let's go to Pfizer and listen to their advice as to whether it's going to hurt us or not. We won't use our own brains at Health Canada. We won't use our own brains at the Public Health Agency of Canada. We'll just depend on Pfizer to tell us if they put, even though they put a cancer-causing element called SV40, we'll just believe them that it's safe. It's not safe. The liars say it's safe. They are lying. It's unsafe. It has hurt and shortened the lives of so many of us. And with great thanks to the wonderful people who understood from the beginning and knew that it was dangerous, I say thank you. And my last personal note is to say, I'm from these parts in a way. My paternal family came from Paisley and Owen Sound area. So not too far from you good folks here in Shelburne. Paisley and Owen Sound was where my father grew up and grandfather grew up. And there was migration to Toronto over time, as happens for so many families, and migration up to Ottawa at a point when my father started his career in agricultural science. So I'm among friends. I love you all. Be brave and be proud of what you've done for Canada. Here in Shelburne, Ontario, this is the 80th meeting in 3.5 years here in Shelburne. Congratulations. And I'm Dr. Chris Allen Shoemaker, and I'm one with these people. Let's help save Canada. Thank you.
Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say thank you very much, Dr. Shoemaker. It's always a pleasure to have you, and it's always a pleasure to have you guys, you doctors, you guys with the credentials. I mean, like some people, they have like an instinct about things. They kind of know when it's the right time to take a medical intervention. But I mean, it's always nice to have the brain trust of the brave doctors and nurses that have stepped up and actually voiced their opinions and told people that this wasn't a good thing. This wasn't good for people's health, and we're very grateful to you guys for that. Really quickly, I just want to introduce one quick speaker here before we get to Dr. David's speaker. Sal Govai is a Canadian veteran. He was also fundamental in James Topp's movement. I wonder if we could just welcome him really quickly for a quick speech before Dr. David. So, Sal, welcome, man.
Take one step over that way. So I'd like to thank everybody. Just first of all, make a minor correction. I wasn't fundamental. I was simply advised before his departure. We served together. In 1999, I ran 1,000 kilometers from Petawawa to Windsor for cancer research. The template of which I applied was a model that Jim expanded on, and with great success. And we're all grateful for that. So why I'm here is I'm from the same region as Dr. Schumacher, and I'm going to speak to an annex and a minor add to what he's talking about in a different channel. Does everybody notice how hot identity's been lately? Right? Here's an interesting truth. In March 2021, I was sent to for a firearms application hearing because the nuclear power plant was afraid of me. They had a thought that my capacity and training was somewhat of a concern to them. I was going to present myself in a capacity which is enshrined within our Constitution and our law. And if anybody's recording this, come back to this. Section 8.1 of the Interpretation Act of Canada around property rights, where it speaks about the common law and civil process will have equal authority in property rights in Canada. In very brief summary. I'd also like to direct you to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is always spoken about. To say the same thing twice is redundant. Rights and freedoms are different dimensions, and you can only be in one at one time in any matter. I serve in the infantry with my life, ready to bleed out on the ground for all of you to have that. What is freedom? It is that choice in a matter that is summary in nature. Your words will be used against you, recognizing the supremacy of God and rule of law. When a police officer walks up to you, or anybody in state, any politician here only wants to speak to you in title, Mr., Sir, last name basis, and a plethora of other tacit consents. How do I know this for certain? I was a reconnaissance soldier, and I worked on an adversary team for Canada where I attacked nuclear infrastructure, and I would then give them a debrief of all of their conduct, from officer all the way up to dynamic. I know arrests. I know how they're supposed to take place. The very first thing an officer has to do is establish your capacity before he can walk onto you. Excuse me, sir, I want to talk to you. Yes. Job 3221, let no flattering title be put upon man's person. That's an individual capacity and possession. It doesn't say the possession of men. You have an individual right. I don't care who you love, how you love. I really don't give a shit how you fucking practice it. What I care is how you address and identify. Back to the legislation for a quick second. The National Flag Act of Canada, drafted in 2012 with foresight. If you read the summary of that, I don't have it available, but if you read the summary, that is actually everything that flag represents. Your court is a theater of representation. If the representation isn't present in a position of honor, it does not bind the judge. What's in the court is the corporate equity shield. I don't want to argue with people thinking that the Canadian flag is a corporate representation. It is in a way, and it is absolutely not. It represents your Constitution, which has your inherent common rights enshrined within it. What is a moral standard?
It's a moral standard, and it's found in one thing, and that's the Constitution. It's written under the King James Version Bible. Irregardless of what spiritual faith you have, you can practice it. I'm not offended. But what I need you to know is how to speak to the state when it walks up to you. All of those poisons that we heard Dr. Shoemaker take, that everybody, you all consented to it, even when you were resisting. Because your words will be used against you to express your will. What is your will? It's, if you were to Google the human nervous system, you would see this stringy entity sitting on a screen. That is your lube. And your acts and decisions are the fruit of it. And they play you like a fucking harp. Now, I've spent 4 years standing in a courtroom in Walkerton Court, Ontario, before Judge Kevin Sherwood of the Ontario Superior Court. And he's told me there's only one process of law. He told me there's no God to refer to in the court. That's on record. I have it. And he was right when he said it at the time. In 2015, after Liberals were all elected, they removed your presumption of innocence. The minute you walk into a courtroom, you consent to search. That is a public servant in front of you. And you should say to them, first of all, wait. Lawyer walks through, they blaze right on through. You follow on the back pocket. Special constable's going to try to stop you. Hey, what are you doing? Well, they're an agent of the court. Well, for all your care right now, so am I. I can be self-representing for all you know. I can be self-representing. Okay? He can't presume your capacity. What is an act? Legally, look it up. Legal terms for the word act when they apply it, and words matter. Rizzo v. Rizzo shoes. That's a citation that talks about how lethal those words are. An act requires a voluntary movement, and it establishes mens rea acts rea. And it completes half the puzzle they need to convict you. Summarily. You didn't shape your tongue. The state did. And there's a whole bunch of words that you apply thinking you're doing it correct. Trans, for example, let's use the word trans. Literally and legally, trans means outside of, across of, beyond of, opposing. Okay? You cannot claim that you're in any capacity in association with the word trans. It's dictional nonsense. Trans Canada Corporation. My real name's Jason Charles Slesser Walker. The Salgovite Pick is a Facebook handle. You can find me there, add me up. I do videos. I'm invited on talks all the time. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the short notice. I hope you find this information powerful and engaging. God bless you all. Fuck. This is real, boys and girls. It's real. Start learning your capacity and stand it in grace. Amen.
Thank you very much, Sal. Yeah, we love our veterans here in Shelburne, that's for sure. I think we'll have Wild Bill on later for anyone who's going to be following us over to Duffy's here. That's the building just to the east of us. And now I think our next speaker up is Dr. David Speaker, actually. I don't know if he's been on a warm-up session, actually. The wind's a little brisk out here. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so without further ado, Dr. David Speaker, everyone. Welcome to Shelburne, my friend.
Wow, it is nice to be here. My first time in Shelburne ever, so it's good, and I'm so thankful that Vet Talk first, because I got a phone call from a Dr. Byram Bridle, who also says the hi, and then in 2 weeks, him and I are in Calgary for an injection of truth. The whole world has been told two things: follow the science, and these vaccines are safe and effective. If you follow the science, these things contain high levels of DNA and SV40 sequences. Before the convoy, our first event. September of 2020, a bunch of us met in Orangeville in a chicken barn in the lockdowns because you can't gather, you can't question the science, and if you do, you are of the fringe minority. The doctors are being canceled. Scientists like me.
I'm just going to interrupt you for a second.
What's wrong?
Stand here with you and just to say thank you for mentioning that you and I will both be in Calgary and Edmonton in the next 15 days.
We are.
They're separate events. We're speaking both in Calgary and Edmonton of the real truth, and so that we can move forward. But David, you're the wonderful scientist that you are. It's back to you. You're my great friend. Blessings.
Thank you. And see, I am so thankful for the convoy. Us scientists and doctors, since the beginning of the pandemic, we're speaking up, following the science, sharing the science, and the public at large did not wake up until the convoy went across our nation and went into Ottawa. And then on stage, the people began to listen and see what was going on to all of the good doctors like Dr. Shoemaker and scientists like me, who have been silenced and lost 5 jobs in the pandemic for speaking what is right, showing the science, and mid 23, Kevin McKernan and Maria Gucci asked me as a PCR lab expert to test the vaccine vials and confirm Kevin's findings. I have so far tested myself 44 vials, 32 in Ontario, 3 from California, 3 from Australia, and 6 from Ireland. And I can tell you that JM1 boosters have the same amount of DNA in there and the SDB40 sequences as all of the other ones.
Wow.
So the new booster is not cleaned up. It's not safe. And it is very effective at causing people harm.
That's what it's effective to do. Yeah, Dave.
I know so many vaccine injured people, and to those who are claimed to have long COVID, and the vaccine injury looks the same. And 2, a lot of folk have said, well, I've had 6 shots and I feel fine. There's so much underlying health harm, like heart inflammation, and it's just like a loose lug nut on your tire. I'm driving fine. There's no problem. I don't check. And then in time, your wheel is about to fall off your car. As soon as the wheel falls off your car, there's no going back. As soon as you have a heart attack, the damage is done and there's no going back. And I think too, a lot of the harms caused, we won't know in our lifetime. Hang on one second. I'm speaking too much. It's okay.
You're doing great, brother. We love you. What's your government does? Love you, dude.
So, a lot of people have said, COVID is done. It's over. Why should I care?
Good question.
It's the same thing with avian influenza. They are in the States have approved a mRNA avian flu vaccine to be used on birds. And what is going on right now in BC? A whole fight between CFIA and an ostrich farm, okay, to save 400 healthy ostriches because at end of December there were 2 dead ostriches on the farm, which are PCR positive for avian flu. And what bugs me is all of those other ostriches have not been tested, do not have symptoms. They will not test them to see are they healthy, and I'm sure most of them are recovered. They have a immune system. So it's just like if one liberal MP tests positive, and if you wipe out the whole caucus, it's insane. So I am fighting. And 2, last week Sunday, Australia, based on the DNA contamination in the nation and the SD40 in the vials, have launched the website. It's called the David Declaration, based on my work and the whole David and Goliath fight. I am just in this doing my role. Without a team of people, without powerful and helpful MPs, scientists, doctors, none of this would be possible. And 2, I am sad to see so many vaccine injured people out there, and therefore I am running as a PPC candidate in Hamilton to stand up for those who are vaccine injured. So our own government forces on people. Evidence-based medicine wasn't followed. We need a return to evidence-based medical science. We need care and support for all of those who are vaccine injured. And so I am in this with you. Follow the science, support the science, and let's get this work done as a team. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to all the doctors who are speaking up. I'm a roofer, and I had this in the back of my head. This wasn't right. You know, I started following the narrative when CP24 was, the death rates were doubling every day, telling us to stay separated, and I was following the narrative until they brought out this vaccination really fast, and there was no side effects with it. I watched a commercial for a blood thinner or a heart medication. They tell you all the great things about this medication. Then they give you a whole list of the horrible things that you may have, suicidal tendencies or anal bleeding, and all the rest of it goes with it. But for some reason, the vaccination, they didn't bring out one single side effect with it. And that's when the bells went off in my head and said, wait a minute, there's no informed consent here. They're not telling us what's in it. They're not telling us that what can happen to us from this. They're just telling you about all the good, wonderful things about it, but none of the negative. That's when my alarms went off. And now there's doctors like Dr. Shoemaker, Dr. Spencer, I guess it is, and all these other doctors that are standing up and speaking up and confirming what I thought to begin with. And it makes me realize I'm not crazy. So it means a lot to me when doctors come out to these rallies and speak. It really does. And it also means a lot to me when politicians, regardless to what party they're representing, have the guts to come out and join us and stand with us and speak. And that is why I would like to introduce our next speaker. It's Stephen Mack, I believe. He is the PPC representative for our area. And I really appreciate you being here. And I'll tell you, you do have my vote, and I'm glad to actually get to meet you in person.
Hello, over here. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, hi. Yeah, I'll clarify that. So I'm Stephen Mack. I'm the Ontario representative for the PPC. So I'm not your local one, and that's Dimna Caroline over there. I'll let her introduce herself in a little while. My job's more behind the scenes. I work with Max. And I'd like to, on behalf of Maxime Bernier, who really wanted to be here today, but he couldn't because he had a prior engagement in Perth Wellington. So unfortunately, sorry, you don't get Max. I'm your booby prize, but I'm happy to talk to you. And this is an anniversary of a very interesting Canadian event. That's the Freedom Convoy 3 years ago. So I'm just curious, who here was part of that convoy 3 years ago? Show your hands. Okay, awesome, awesome. Are there any actual truckers among us here? Any truck drivers? Okay, well, maybe a couple.
Where's Brian? Brian.
Okay, thank you.
Never left.
So I'm glad the spirit's still alive. And that was basically an expression of Canadian will. This is the most beautiful grassroots expression of disappointment in the system. Yes, it was about certain specific laws about crossing the border with vaccine mandates and not, but really it was a statement that our government has gone too far. It just happened to be a specific thing. And as the years went on and on, our government, our system, our bureaucracies kept doing stuff to us. So I'm not going to talk about too much about the past today, but I want to give you maybe a call to action to think about the future. We know what they've done in the past. Let's keep our ears and eyes open to see what might be coming down. Who here was in Ottawa in February at the protest? Great, good to see. I was there as well. Me and another bunch of rather large candidates. We were Maxime Bernier's informal security detail. I have to say, I took one for the chief. Somebody threw a snowball, and I let it hit me rather than spoil Max. And so I keep doing that. And I guess that's what I'm doing here today a little bit. So why truckers? Why were they the ones that woke up first? And I have a theory about that. Truckers are people who have a lot of time to themselves in that cab, driving through our beautiful country. They see the beauty of Canada, and they have time to think. Not like all the other people watching TV all the time, whose brains are being manipulated. Please don't watch TV. But the truckers are kind of our philosophers. They don't go drive through the fancy neighborhoods. They go do deliveries. They see the grittier side of the world. They see the parts of towns where people have to hustle to get ahead. And I think that is part of what inspired them to be our leaders. You know, when I was a little boy at a family gathering, when I was maybe 6, 7 years old, they asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up, Stephen?" And I said, maybe a rocket scientist or a truck driver.
And my mom said, no, you got to be a scientist. Well, I am an engineer, but you know, what isn't there to like? Trucks, they're powerful, they're loud, they get things done, and they're peaceful. And I think that was another thing about the Freedom Convoy was it was totally peaceful. It was totally a uprising of the people. I mean, some of my leftist friends think that this was a beautiful proletarian uprising against the commissars. I mean, the government, the the direction of power has gone the wrong way. The way it was intended was for the people's voice to drive the leadership of the government to do what we want, but it's flipped over. And we saw during the pandemic and since the government is trying to tell us how to live. The government's trying to say, what does it mean to be a good Canadian? That's not their job. There's 40 million ways to be a good Canadian, and each one of you knows what that way is for you. So we don't need moralizing. We don't need in and out. So one thought I would like to impart on all of you is, how about we stop thinking we're a fringe? Let's stop thinking that we're somehow outsiders. I think that's where they want us to be. What we are is the mainstream of the future. Look at what's happening in the world like right now. Look what's happening in the States. Look what Trump is doing. And his team, which isn't all Republicans, they're mostly former Democrats. It's very diverse in a way. Look what's happening in Germany, France, reform in England, which is likely to form the next government. Let's make sure Canada isn't the last straggler that keeps DEI and all this woke BS and state authoritarianism in place. Please, let's not Canada be that place. But I'm a little bit worried because we have an election coming. We're in the midst of the slowest, most dragged out resignation of a politician I've ever seen. So yeah, Trudeau's on his way out. We've been cheering for that. And yeah, he's kind of gone. But do you feel better? No.
No.
And you know, every politician, every leader is trying to come across as the next savior. They have new, quick slogans. So do you think Poilievre is going to change anything? No. Because they're two wings of the same bird, different color socks, different ties. I mean, if you think that voting for that guy is going to change anything, it's not going to change the system. We can take some inspiration from the USA. What's happening there is amazing. And by the way, Maxime Bernier did announce back 3 years ago that Canada needed a Department of Government Streamlining and Efficiency. We didn't call it Doge, but we were already on that. And you know, the PPC's been on it from day one. We are going to be in power. It's inevitable. I don't know when, but it's going to take you to convince your neighbors. And you don't need to convince the neighbors who already believe. You're going to have to open your hearts. You're going to have to be the cheerful, confident ones. And you're going to have to convert your neighbors. You're our CBC. Citizen by citizen, we're going to get the message out. If you talk to 10 people, they talk to 10 people, we can make things happen. I'm just curious, how many of you are PPC supporters out there? I see quite a lot. That's awesome. We got to make it more because we're not taking the easy route. We have values, we have principles, we know we're right, and we just have to convince people better. And the difficulty is the skills you need to get elected don't really overlap with the skills you require to govern effectively. So there's a lot of good salesmen out there, but the product sucks. We know that. For the last 50, 60 years, it's the same product. I don't care if it's Harper or Trudeau Senior, or Trudeau Junior, or Pearson or Clark. It's all the same thing. It is time to do something different, to choose something different. Because they're streaming data down at you through the media, through all different means, all the time. And you get to send a message back once every 5 years or so. So when you do send that message back, I hope that message is to have a future, to have a free future where Canadians can be the agents of their own prosperity in a free country. And the PPC promises to push government back to make room for you to move forward. But here's the thing, for that to work, we need a citizenry who has self-confidence, especially young people right now. People are losing confidence in themselves and are being tricked into having faith and confidence in a government that is exactly the thing that we want to fight. So please find your confidence. You're Canadians. Canadians are self-reliant. Canadians are confident in the future. Think of our ancestors who came into this wild place and turned it into a civilized place. We've gone adrift, and yes, certain influences from above, from far away, and within have gotten us on the wrong path. But we can get on the right path if we have confidence in ourselves. So please, remember, without freedom of speech, we can't talk to each other. So we need to exercise our freedoms because they're like a muscle. If you don't exercise it, it withers away. So be proud, wave your flags, be an American flag. You know, America isn't our enemy. Americans are friends. They're family. Let's not have a trade war with America. Let's not fall into that trap. Maxime Bernier is the only political leader in Canada who understands how Trump's thinking, and we're not falling for his troll. This is a test, and it's showing how out of touch our leadership is. We don't need to fight America. They're our friends. Our neighbors are telling us that our house is a mess and we need to clean it up. You know what Trump did? He took a figurative gun and put it to Trudeau's head and says, implement the PPC platform, please. And he's almost convinced Trudeau to do a whole bunch of things that PPC's been saying we got to do from day one. Remember 2019? We were saying mass immigration's a disaster. It's going to wreck the country. What were we called? We're called racists, idiots, and worse. Where are we now? We are the only party that represents the majority opinion of Canadians. 70% of Canadians think immigration's out of control. Thank you. I told you so. We were right. They were all wrong. But we only got, a few percent that time. And then with the pandemic, we've already spoken about the vaccines and the science. But what did Maxime say? Yeah, handing out CERB checks and CEWS, printing money to hand out to idle people is going to create an inflation hangover when this is over like nobody's ever seen before. I told you so. We were right. We knew where it was going. And right now we're saying what's happening with the U.S. and Canada trade. I'd love to sit down with Trump and negotiate with Max. Okay, you don't want tariffs? He says reciprocal tariffs? Great. How about we get rid of our tariffs, our 300% tariffs on cheese or poultry and eggs and stuff? He's got a point. Okay, dude, Donald, you don't want tariffs? Take them all down. Let's deal. Let's make a deal, my friend. That's what he wants to do. And it seems none of our other leaders have read his book. Max has read his book. Max knows what Trump's doing. He's not trying to hurt us. He's trying to help us. An American president is doing more to change the Canadian political garbage than our own useless leaders. So let's not be angry and let's not fall for this crap of, let's all team up together to defend what? To defend our bureaucracy. Is that worth defending? No, it's not. We're here to get rid of it. I'd love to be the Doge guy for a PPC government. That's my dream job.
That's my job.
Okay, well, join the team. It's a team. I'll take the big snowball. You take the little snowball. So let's be cheerful and confident. And we're not here to defend our bureaucracy because that's the thing that got us in trouble in the first place. You can change the 338 or 343 bums that are elected. It doesn't matter because the stuff that's wrong is below them. And nobody's drilling down to fix that. The bureaucracy writes the bill. Some patsy MP puts the bill forward, gets it voted in. What's the bill say? Typically, give the bureaucracy more power, be it the RCMP doing guns or CRTC controlling your speech or some regulatory body dealing with your herbal remedies. It's the same story. They get a bill to give the bureaucrats more ability to set rules, fines. It's not the way it was intended. We want to break that cycle. So I know I've been rambling a bit, and I'd like to say again, Maxime Bernier sends his greetings to all of you. And the last thing I'd like to say is a vote for the PPC is a vote for yourself. So take charge, be confident, be cheerful. You held on this long. We're winning. Okay? So take the attitude of a winner. Our world is coming. Let's get the word out and let's not be stragglers. Let's show what Canada can do, how prosperous we can be. Less taxes, less regulation. We can make it happen. And hey, enjoy each other's company. Have an amazing afternoon. And I look forward to answering any of your questions afterwards. So that's all I have to say. Back to you, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Stephen Mack. Boy, that's a tough act to follow. The good news is there is no follower because you're the keynote, so you're going to go last. However, I wonder, would you be against our local PPC rep, Dipna, just introducing herself?
Hey, Debna, come on out.
Yeah!
Hey, happy to see you.
So I'm just jumping in, or this is the first time I've met Stephen also, though I know you all. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you very much. I'm just like you, I'm here for the same reason. I really want to appreciate Jeremy and all the Shelburne team for their continued pushback against this tyranny. And, you know, I've been out here with you. The opportunity, I'm just an ordinary person with a full-time job and a full-time family. I'm doing what you're all doing, and I'm just not going to stand by and say nothing while they take away our rights and freedoms. And I will no longer support corrupted government or global communism. And the PPC speaks to my core values. I'd love to represent you and be your voice. I'm looking for some signatures to comply with Elections Canada regulations. So if you live in Dufferin-Caledon, I'd love to have your signature. Feel free to come and introduce yourself. We're looking to build a team and get together to make this pushback more impactful. And that's all I have to say. I just really appreciate your support. Love to be your voice. I'm excited about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dipna. She's lucky like me having a very memorable name. So when you see that ballot, remember Dipna. And if you're from, I see there's some people from Simcoe North. I'm a candidate too, by the way, up in Midland and Aurelia. So I see a couple of friends. I know you're on my side. So pass the word on. And hey, let's look forward to a fun afternoon.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you to all the doctors and politicians that have got up and spoke. But I want to remind you, you don't have to be a doctor or a politician to speak in Shelburne. Never had to be. All you have to have is a voice. So if anybody else wants the mic, you're more than welcome to come up here. We all have a voice. That includes you, of course, Kay, because I know you look like you're itching there to speak, and that includes you, Dennis, because I'm very happy to have you in here at Canada with us. I might not want to be in 51 state, but I'm very envious to who you have as your president. We need real leadership here in Canada to make real fast change.
All right, well, I'm going to jump out here for a little bit, everybody, to move around and get warmed up. Thank you, everyone that came in. I might come back up later with if there's anything else that I need to come back up. Just keep yourselves tuned in, those that are there. Ash, I know you're going live. If you're still live, brother, just keep going. I'll message you and let you know I'm coming back up soon enough. Oh, I see another fellow good, loyal media person. Derek, how are you, brother? Freedom, do you want to say hi to my live?
Hey everyone, who do you got on your live? Anybody else?
No, but well, a couple people from New Brunswick I got here.
Nice.
Some from secret locations, a few from the States.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
So
yeah, we got good turnout.
This is one of our Trudeau Highland hunters.
That's it.
Yeah. And I think in honor of Derek, I'm going to switch off the live for a minute, play you guys a song before I close out, so I can talk with Derek. And just in honor, I'm going to say, let's say, Justin doesn't know.
This one's for my boy JT. Well, he's not my boy, but actually I'll call him JC. Justin doesn't know that his dad is Castro, even though he looks just like him. They tell him it's Pierre, but Justin has hair, and he looks exactly like Fidel Castro. Oh, Justin doesn't know. Oh, he's a little slow. Daddy's Castro, Justin doesn't know. Don't tell Trudeau. Pretend it's a Cuban vacation, but she's with Pierre's pal consummating. Justin doesn't know, Justin doesn't know, Justin doesn't know. He's a little slow. Daddy's Castro, Justin doesn't know. Don't tell Trudeau. Canada's turning into Cuba. I don't like starving, I like food. Just a little baby communist, like his papa, get the gist. But he has some really nice hair though. Justin doesn't know, Justin doesn't know, Justin doesn't know. Don't tell Justin, cause he's a little slow. Justin doesn't know. So don't tell Justin or he'll put on a show. Dressed like a dictator, don't you know? Justin doesn't know, Justin doesn't know. Canada, why not? Communism's fun when you're on top. Blackface, disgrace, laughing so hard cause Justin doesn't know, Justin doesn't know. She was there 9 months before his birthday. Justin doesn't know, Justin doesn't know. He's a little slow. Daddy's Castro, Justin doesn't know. Justin will know, Justin probably knows. If Justin doesn't know, I'm gonna tell Justin, gonna tell him myself. Justin has to know, Justin's gotta go. Don't tell Trudeau. I can't afford this country. He'll probably ban my melody. Justin doesn't know, Justin doesn't know. Basic economics, he's a little slow, and his daddy's Castro. Justin has to go, Justin's gotta go. He's a little slow, daddy's Castro. Justin doesn't know, Justin's gotta go. Justin doesn't know.
All right. Well, like I said, I was gonna play that. I'm out for a bit. I'll jump back up if anything else comes interesting. And remember, I am the Chad.
And then we'll go.
Hey Charlie, yeah. Can I get a I am not the Chad from you?
Say what?
Can I get a I am not the Chad?
I like John Candy. I like the Blues Brothers. But I am not the Chad.
Two people to stay home. Those two people are coming out of our school system.